Do you want to know why one person's garbage is another person's treasure in this regard? Then stick around. It's MYOG Monday! Okay, what you see in front of you is something that not a whole lot of people know about. This is a core support, or what's left of a core support, out of a 2018 F-150. Now, most later model F-150s have this core support, and it's made of magnesium. Magnesium is stronger than aluminum and just as light. And it's bushcraft gold, let me tell you. Because this particular core support, as you can see here, is in pieces. It's broken. Now what happens when an F-150 is in a head-on collision of some kind is this core support 99.9% of the time breaks. Magnesium doesn't bend well, it just breaks. Now, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to shut this down. We're going to go to my truck. I don't have an F-150, but I'm going to show you where a core support is and what it kind of looks like when it's in a truck. So let's go take a look. Here we are. We're underneath the hood of my GMC. Now, once again, GMC, Fords, very different, but a lot of things are kind of the same. This right here is a core support. Now I'm going to pan left and I'm going to pan right. Now this core support attaches to body components and frame. It'll actually attach to the headlight assemblies, which are right there. And as you can see, you even got your radiator here, which attaches to the core support, and vice versa. And it's right in front of the truck. Right there's the grill. Okay? Now, I think this core support is aluminum. But like I said, in later model F-150s, it is actually magnesium, and that's the one we have back there on the stump top. So this is a core support. Now, once again, bushcraft gold, and you're going to see why. Because we're going to make lightweight fire starters. So let's get back to the stump top and get started. Alright, we're back at the stump top, and what's our F-150 core support. Now, before I get into the actual making of our little fire starters, a quick story. A good friend of mine, his nickname is Rooster, is a auto mechanic, and he's the one who turned me on to this. Obviously, I knew magnesium is flammable, and it's been around for a long time, used in outdoor situations. For instance, you have the military magnesium block, and it's got a spark insert on it. Those have been, I think those have been around since the Vietnam War, to be honest, maybe even going back to Korea. But anyway, I became aware of this when I was at a party where he took a big chunk like this, it's all magnesium, and he threw it in a bonfire. And of course, this burns like an arc light. Nobody could look at the bonfire, and I think the bonfire was actually sighted from space by some alien civilization. It was so stupidly bright. And I had asked him, what the heck did you throw in the fire? And he told me, and I'm like, wow, can I get a piece of that? And he said, sure. So he's at work. A truck comes in with front end damage. We now have pieces from the broken core support. So what you're going to need to do this job, you're going to need some way to cut the magnesium. I'm using my reciprocating saw with a metal blade. You're going to need some way to drill holes in the magnesium. I got a drill with an 1/8 inch drill bit. And then you're going to need something to tie a lanyard, so if you so choose, to the magnesium. And I'll show you what I have for that when we get to that part. So, first, this piece is kind of irregular, but I could cut some strips right here. But I'm not going to do that. I'm saving that for later. But this piece of the core support, I'm going to cut some strips right here. So we're going to cut a few strips with the reciprocating saw. It's got to get loud, and we will go from there. So, alright, let me reposition the camera so you can see this. I'll put my foot on this. And you want these to be at least about an inch wide, to 3/4 to an inch wide. Just like that. There's a piece. Let me cut one more. I want to get it started. Woo. There we go. There's our pieces. Okay. You see all that debris? That's pure magnesium. So we're going to hold on to that for our fire demonstration. Set that stuff aside. Next, reposition the camera. Stick with me. We're going to drill some holes in these pieces. Now, if you could straighten these out, I'd straighten them out. But like I said, magnesium doesn't bend well. You'll just break this off. So it's up to you whether or not you want to keep this on there or break it off. I'm going to keep them, but I'm going to drill a hole. Just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to have to pause the camera because what I'm going to use for a lanyard for these I left in the house. So I will be right back. Stick around. Alrighty, we are back. And I ran in the house and I grabbed this camouflage mason's line. And as you can see, it's by Craft Tool. Proudly made in the USA. And you can go ahead and pause that screen and read that if you want. It's really great stuff to make some like lanyards and stuff with. It's really small. Give you a look at it. It works out really good. You can also use this to make tie-outs for like a tent. Really lightweight. Okay, so we're going to cut some of this. I'm thinking about that much. Getting really scientific about this. And then we're going to cut that in half. Boop, 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 ba-doo, ba-doo. Okay. So we got that all cut. Now I want to deburr these holes, because if I don't, it'll cut the line. So I'm just going to use a knife. That side is deburred. That side is deburred. Let me back this up a little bit. Now I'm going to do this one. It's kind of got a sharp edge. So I'm going to go ahead and deburr that. I can already hear somebody in the comments screaming that I'm damaging the knife, and I'm not. This is magnesium. It's very soft. It has good strength, but it's not like super hard. Okay, well, we're going to feed this stuff through. Then we're just going to tie this off with an overhand knot. Doesn't have to be fancy. And that's it. That's our fire starter. That's pure magnesium, or pretty close to pure. It burns, which you will see here in a moment. Let me get this one put together. Now, if you were making these for a fire kit, you might want to break off this piece so it's all flat. I have one here that's done that way, which I will show you in a moment. So as I get done tying this, which for some reason I'm all thumbs at the moment. I know what it is. It's the heat out here. It's like 92 or 93 degrees. I don't know what it is with the weather lately, but it's been hot. Okay, that's tied. And here's the one that I made for a kit, and you can see it's all flat. And I busted, it had this same curve that this piece had, but I busted this off, and I did it this way. So you can do it either way, it's up to you. This curve is kind of nice because it gives you something to hold on to while you're scraping. Alright, so let me get this line out of here, and we're going to get set up, and we're going to do a burn test. So let me pause the camera and I'll be right back with you. Alrighty, we are set up. We got our concrete paver here, because I really don't want to get the stump burning, because sometimes I sat on this stump and I really don't want charcoal on my butt later on. It's just me, I know. I'm a prima donna. Here we have a small pile of the shavings from when we cut our pieces that I showed you earlier, and we're going to add to that. I got my MYOG Garberg, and we're just going to use the 90-degree spine, and we're going to shave stuff off this. Now the first few times you do this, it's going to be a little rough, but it gets easier. And there it goes. And we're getting shavings. Look at those shavings. See how smooth that is now? And now look at the other side where it was cut. It's all jagged. See how it's jagged? And see how that's all smooth? That's just from this 90-degree spine. So, and don't worry that there's paint on this. That paint don't bother a thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knock all these sharp edges off with that 90-degree spine. Okay, so that one's ready to be used or put away in my kit. Go and knock all the sharp edges off this one. Okay, so we got all the sharp edges off that, but I'm going to go ahead and scrape a little bit off this one. Yeah, it just keeps coming right off. Look at that curl right there. A nice big one. Okay. So we got a fair amount. Oh, I got shavings on me. Wouldn't want to catch on fire. Okay. So we're going to put all these shavings together. Now this is a respectable little pile. When you're using magnesium as a fire starter like this, at the bare minimum you want a pile the size of a penny or dime. Ideally you want a pile the size of a quarter, and this is about quarter sized. if I smush it all out like that. So, got our ferro rod, got our Garberg. Let's see if we can get some fire. Oh, that was close. Oh, there it goes. There we go. It's a burning. I think those tiny little shavings from when we cut it, it's not getting enough oxygen, but you can see it's burning. Let me zoom in. You can see it's burning quite nicely. That's very hot too, by the way. That would definitely get a tinder bundle burning. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that, and it's still going. It's red hot. Look at that. So I look at magnesium as kind of like a last resort. If I've tried everything else and I can't get a fire, then I got magnesium as a backup. And one of these that we just made, we're going to get the scale out and I'm going to show you what they weigh. They weigh next to nothing. But, whew, that's hot. Even putting my hand next to it, it's hot. But that is our magnesium fire starter. And we just made that. And what did it cost me? Nothing but a little bit of time. Now, before we go to the next segment and I do my weigh-in and all that, I just want to say this. You might be asking yourself, well, how the heck do I get that? Well, do you know any auto mechanics? That would be the first thing you have to ask yourself. Because the #1 selling truck in North America is the F-150. And I have no clue how many millions of them out there have these magnesium core supports in them. I don't know, 20, 30 million, maybe more. So you really need to have access to a mechanic who does auto body work, stuff like that, or maybe access to a salvage yard where you can find a wrecked F-150, and they might let you take that core support even if it's busted for the price of salvage, which might be next to nothing. But like I said, if you know a mechanic, you might be able to get a broken core support like the one I showed you for nothing but for asking. So, alright, I babbled on long enough. Let's go get the scale out and everything. So let me pause this and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. We have our scale set up to pounds. We're going to try weighing this one first. And that's with this little lightweight lanyard. So let's see what the scale says. 1/2 ounce. Wow. We'll put that to metric. 13 grams. Okay. Back to pounds. This one is a little bit wider than that one, so it'll probably weigh a little more. Let's see what she weighs. 5/8 of an ounce. Can you see that in camera? I hope so. Let's go to metric. In metric it says 18 grams. So as you can see, these don't weigh much at all. They're really light. And an awesome little fire starter that we just made, or we upscaled. So I hope you enjoyed this MYOG Monday. I hope it gave you some ideas. One thing I do want to point out is we're just covering one auto part from one manufacturer. Okay, Ford F-150 core support. We know it's magnesium. Well, I know for a fact that there's a lot of other car parts out there that are magnesium. I know some of the VW Bugs, the actual engine blocks on some of them were magnesium with steel inserts for the cylinders. Now, I'm not saying try to get an engine block and slice pieces off it, that'd be crazy. But what I am saying is, I think no matter where you are in the world, you can find magnesium in some form or another on an automobile somewhere. And you might be able to turn it into a nice little fire starter. And I'm telling you, this right here, free, always beats the cost of anything you're going to buy, let me tell you. So, once again, hope you enjoyed this MYOG Monday, and I'll see y'all later in the woods.